you hear me okay? My name is Jacob McWilliams, and I'm the director of the Women and Gender Center, and one of the co-organizers of this event, and I'm just so excited to see all of you here tonight. We're really excited about this event. You may have noticed that. In a sec, I will quickly, right now, introduce Jamie Newton, who is the main driving force behind this event. She'll be speaking in a few minutes. So if you want to applaud her now, you can do that. Really excited to be able to offer you this event this evening. It's the product of a lot of work by a lot of people, and it is the product of a lot of emotional labor from a lot of people who came before us, who shared their stories with us tonight, some of which you'll be hearing throughout this program. We have two goals in this program. The first is to provide a format for exploring women's experiences as women, being women out in the world, doing woman things, and being told by other people that they're doing it wrong, or that they're not doing it right enough. So a lot of the stories that you'll hear tonight will be about those experiences. So we really wanted to give a voice to women's experiences out in the world, and many of the stories you've heard have never been shared before publicly. So that's our first goal. And our second goal is to use this event as a fundraiser for a scholarship that we're calling the Women of Auraria Scholarship. You may have heard about this if you've been following information online about this event. So this is a scholarship to support students on this campus who are doing work in social justice or gender equity and are not yet being recognized or supported for doing that work. And that's what we hope that this event will help us fund. Interested in donating or willing to donate, there's a form in there to fill out. We are accepting cash, checks, and credit cards, and so you can fill out that form, and there's an envelope as well, and you can deposit that. You can leave it with any volunteer in the room, or you can deposit it at the front door on your way out. The contribution, by the way, is tax deductible, and you will get a confirmation of that. Before we begin the program, I want to just give you a content warning. This evening will feature some very traumatic, sometimes, content, particularly content around sexual violence. We received an overwhelming number of stories from people who disclosed their history with sexual violence, and we're grateful to those of you who are able to share while recognizing that this may not feel safe for all people. We've chosen to read some of these stories tonight, not to traumatize or re-traumatize, but because we know that the reason why sexual violence continues to exist and thrives is due to silence. So we therefore must talk about sexual violence and be present to bear witness to begin healing both individually and as a community. We cannot change something if we don't speak it out loud. If at any point in time tonight this experience becomes emotionally overwhelming to you, please do whatever you can or whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. We have confidential counselors provided by the Phoenix Center at Auraria here and available to support anybody who needs that support. They're free, they're non-judgmental, trauma-informed, and a confidential resource available to provide you with whatever assistance will be most helpful, whether that's talking, listening, or simply providing a quiet space. You don't need to share anything with them that you don't wish to, and they will not ask you to do so. Any volunteer wearing a That's What She Said shirt, any of these shirts, can get you connected with one of these folks. Additionally, the Phoenix Center has a 24/7 helpline that you can call at any point after this event, and that's the number for that is located in your programs.
I don't know why I brought this up because I refused to say anything, but Jacob told me I had to. And I just want to thank every one of you for being here, because when we first started talking about this, I was like, we need 300 seats. And then 2 months later, I was like, well, what if we don't fill all 300 seats? Like, I will be a failure. And then last week, I was like, we're going to fill all 300 seats. And then we added 50, and now we have people standing in the back of the room. So community. I think that there is one very important thing that we need to do though. If you have a cell phone and you could turn on your flashlight, I really need a photo with all of you. And I'm not joking, I don't see one person in the front row, thank you. That's it, we're gonna bring the entire planning committee, or what we can at least, on stage to take a selfie real quick with you all. Okay, so that's like 6 of you. Yeah, okay, come on. Oh, wow.
Two members of the Pussy Bros, Janae Burris and Rachel Weeks. You may already be familiar with the Pussy Bros, our local comedy troupe and a fixture in the Denver comedy scene. We're super excited about their participation, and they'll be providing you a little bit of entertainment this evening. So with that, I just want to hand it over to the Pussy Bros.
We are attached.
Oh,
yeah,
that's nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are the 2 of the 3 Pussy Bros. My name is Rachel Weeks.
I'm Janae Burris.
And we are so excited to be here. Thank you for having us.
There's usually 3 of us.
Yeah.
We're a 4-member group, but there's usually 3 of us in the showing up.
We have a 3rd member. Her name is Christy Buckley. She's a hilarious comedian with cerebral palsy. We also started this group with a 4th member of our group, whose name was Jordan Maliva. Jordan tragically passed away in September very suddenly. She was an amazing trans comedian and talked about it very openly and was so helpful and so educational for so many people. So if you are interested in hearing any more about her, we would love you to check out her album, which is available for free online. It's called Astro Gentrification. She's the very best, so please check that out. We're here as a group to spread the word that women are funny and are dope, but also, you know,
we're funny, we're dope, we're also a little bit angry.
We're also a little bit angry.
A little bit angry all the time. I don't.
Yeah, they were like, can you come here and like put a little light on the situation? We're like, no.
Tired.
That is, you need a male group for that.
Yeah. It's all work for us. Nothing fun anymore.
We do try. We do try to be fun. But then when people tell us to smile, we're like, ah!
Don't you dare.
We're gonna do a little bit of stand-up for you, but if you enjoy us tonight, please do check us out at our other shows around town. We run a monthly show at the Comedy Room on Friday.
That's our last one, April 6th.
It's our last one.
That's
It's
our
on
last
April
one.
6th, so come cheer us out. We're moving to a new venue at Oscar Blues, which is on Market and 16. The new one at the Black Buzzard, and that's on every last Saturday. So please come support women in comedy. We got dope headliners coming through all the time.
We got a show on Monday, you and I.
We do.
Rachel and I are, we also work at Comedy Works. We're regulars at Comedy Works, and we're doing this huge showcase on Monday for some very important people. We'd love it if you guys came out. We've got some half-price tickets if you want to see us do more dick jokes. Come on Monday, support us downtown. It's always a fun place to be and show off a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Okay, let's jump into some of
Yeah, let's do it. Let's prove why you should come see us on stand-up. Here's why you should come see us perform. I'm going to let Janae kick it off for everybody. So here you go. Janae Burris, everybody.
That's me. I usually pace the stage a lot, so it's fine. I'll just pace right here, like I'm in a very small zoo. I guess that's fine. It's weird. Why did I wear a skirt today, you guys? Nobody look up my skirt, please. It's very dangerous. It's kind of like, I call it the black hole. You could be sucked into it. Don't look under there. Please tell me what the sign is for black holes so I can remember that. Nice. I'm going to use that all the time now. I am not a Colorado native. This is not what Colorado natives look like. Don't know if you've been to Colorado before. There are a lot of white people here. A lot of white people here. And I made the big mistake of moving all the way to Colorado from California with my own white boyfriend. What? Why would I do that? Why would, if I had waited till I got here, I could have got me a fresh one when I got here. Okay, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You cannot get down the street without literally tripping over white dick. It is like, here's a quarter, get out of here. I brought my own snow to the mountains. How boring. How boring of me. My boyfriend's a fun guy, but he's been super supportive. I love him. I love my boyfriend. Sure I do. Sure. Sure. Why not? Why not? Even me, okay? Okay, I don't know what love is, okay? I don't know the difference. Does anyone tell me the difference between love and Stockholm Syndrome? Trick question. They are the same. They are the same. No, I love my boyfriend. He's a fun guy. Okay, my last relationship was like 12 years, so I'm a little bit messed up from that. 12 years of my life takes 12. I could have been a doctor. That's how long 12 years is. Then I just had a boyfriend, gave away all my skinniest years. I'll never be that skinny again, you guys. Never. They're gone. When I was in my 20s, I took it for granted. My mom was like, "Now you gotta work out." I said, "No, Mom, you're wrong, okay? I'm gonna be like this forever. You're wrong, Mom." I said, "No." When I was in my 20s, like I'd ride my bike to work one day, ride my bike back home. Oh my God, I lost 8 pounds. What? None of my clothes fit. I'm 20. Now I'm in my 30s, deep in my 30s. In my 30s. It's so hard to lose weight. But I feel like I'd have to have a very, very late-term abortion to lose 8 pounds at this point. I would kill to lose 8 pounds. Don't worry, I'll keep it. I'll keep it. Your groans matter to me. I'll keep it. That's fine. Me, I'll keep the imaginary accidental baby. I will keep it. Okay, no money, no husband, no insurance. I'll keep it. Hey. Okay, I'm too old anyway. I got too much pride to walk into Planned Parenthood at this point and let them know that I made a mistake. I'd rather just keep it. All right, me and Miracle. That's her name. Come on, Miracle. Let's go, Miracle. I'm hungry too, Miracle. But people don't like abortions. Let's go. Yeah, one time Mom had sex, Miracle. That's what happened. Let's go. I head on down to Planned Parenthood, see all the women protesting. Hey guys, me and Miracle are back. Who's gonna watch her? I got a yeast infection. I gotta pop in here real quick. Who's watching her? They do more than abortions, you guys. No, but I am in love with my boyfriend, and my mom was like, "Janae, when you fall in love for real, you're gonna know what the signs will be there." So I knew I was in love with this man the first time that I initiated a blowjob. Where I wasn't drunk, it wasn't his birthday. I went there, I did that on purpose. Big deal for me. Milestone for me. I did that on purpose. I know, maybe not a big deal for you guys, okay, but this is my mouth. This is where I put my food. This right here is a sacred place. I've never in my life knowingly, willingly eaten anything that maybe had a little bit of pee on it. Not on purpose. I never did that. Okay? Not on purpose. You can give me free food right now. Big old free sandwich prepared by Wolfgang Puck himself. Nice meats and cheeses on the sandwich. It's just one drop of pee. Just the one drop. Where would you like to take your first bite? I think I'm not hungry anymore. That's what I think. I also heard that old cliche growing up. I'm sure you've heard it, that blowjobs are a white girl thing. You've heard that, or you're contributing to that. It is not a judgment though, but that is what they're saying about you, girl. The blowjobs are a white girl thing, like hiking and bulimia. I'm no good at it. I'll never be good at it. But then there I was one day, like, oh my God. I'm in love. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Not so bad. Hey, that's not so bad. Hey, that's not so bad. I can hardly taste the pig. It was beautiful, romantic. I felt like Cinderella, and I had found my own Prince Charming, you know. So this is love. So this is love. Oh. Come on, man. Come on, man. I got to move the laundry. Come on, baby. All right, that's my time, you guys. Thanks for being so fun. Gonna be a great show, you lucky devils. Man, Jamie did her thing. We're gonna have a great time. Up next, though, for a quick short set, is my good friend who, she's really young, you guys. That's the thing about Rachel. People don't know she's young, and we were like, I don't get along with young people, but I do get along with Rachel because she's funny as hell. She runs this great show called We Still Like You. It's a show about shame. People come and tell stories about shame. She talked to her about this. She's very funny. Give it up for Rachel Weeks.
All right. I am also not a native from Colorado, but I do look like a native, so that's me. I was supposed to go jean shopping today, but I decided I didn't want to ruin today, so I didn't go. It's bad, right, ladies? Every one of us has cried in the changing room of a TJ Maxx. Yeah. It's bad. It is bad, guys. You have no idea how good you have it. Okay, because when men go jean shopping, you guys get 2 numbers. Right? You go in, you find your width, you find your length, you go home, you play with your dick. Good for you. Good for you. I'm happy for you. That's all I want. Is to play with your dick. It's so fun. So fun. Like a weeble. Now, when women go jean shopping, we get 1 number, and that number is irrelevant. It means nothing. It's insane. There's a real women's pant size that is 0. Yeah. How big are you? None. I'm none big. I don't take up any space. I think women's pant sizes are our length minus our width times how sad we are that day. Right? It's a nightmare. Even if you do find a pair of pants that fit you, there's always something crazy wrong with them. You know, when you put them on and there's a giant gap in the back above your butt? As if every woman is looking for a pair of jeans that is a holster for a gallon of milk. Ah! Cereal? Tuck a baby back there. That's what it's for. Sometimes the pockets on the back are weirdly small compared to your ass. Right? It's that Kraft singles in the middle of dinner plates. Look. That's what I was coming for. Yeah. And then the pockets in the front are just purely hypothetical. Because all women need to carry is their first knuckle and dimes. You know, dimes. Dimes, the most petite coin. It's money for women. They're pink. Unlike 85% of women's pants, there's nowhere on them that completely hides their tampon. Nope, we hide them up our sleeves. Like terrible magicians. To be fair, we do make them disappear. Ta-da! Where'd it go? I'm trying to date. It's bad. You know it. It's bad out there. It's bad. It's like playing Where's Waldo if you don't know what Waldo looks like. It's a nightmare. You run into guys say this weird stuff that you're like, I don't know what you mean. I heard a guy say that he scored last night. He's like, I scored. You know, kicked his dick right in there. Just hole in one or whatever. Scored. To me, that sounds like the woman was goaltending. Right? Guys, if you meet a woman who is actively defending her vagina against you, get the fuck out. Move on. Find a new one. There are so many, okay? You want a vagina with a Walmart greeter. Right? And she's like, oh my God, come on in. How many stores have you been to previously? That many. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get you a bag, mister. Don't want you leaving anything behind. Tie it up. Take it home with you. That's yours to keep. For keepsies. Can I help you find anything? Please. I beg of you. You've been wandering the aisles for hours. Okay. What you're looking for is in aisle G. It's towards the front. Top shelf. Okay. Have fun. Slow down. Thank you. Thank you guys very much. I'm Rachel Weeks. Thank you. Stay great. Thank you guys so much for coming to this amazing event. We're so happy to be helping them out tonight. You ready to start the show? Without further ado, let's get That's What She Said started!
My aunt told me men were just better at things, like fixing computers, as I was sitting there, fixing her computer.
One day after class, my middle school PE teacher pulled me aside, told me people would like me a lot more if I shaved my legs.
When I was in kindergarten, I didn't quite know how to tie my shoes yet. I was on the playground blacktop and these 6th grade boys came around offering to help me tie my sneakers, but only if I would suck their thumbs in return. They said it was what I had to do, and I did it. I was 5.
I was at a concert. I ran into someone I hadn't seen since high school and was chatting with them. Out of nowhere, this random guy came up beside me and licked my face, from jawline up to hairline. After which, he stuck out his hand, shook mine, and introduced himself as Dwight.
I was walking out of an exam room after a gynecological exam. The physician patted me on my buttocks as he followed me out. This was from a man who'd just been between the stirrups examining my vagina. I didn't react, not wanting to create a scene in front of the others in the office, but also feeling that I should have called him out. I told my husband about this that evening, and he just laughed.
I went on a run, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the running shits, but they're a real thing. A very real thing. I was really adamant that I didn't want to go do that in a porta potty, however, and I was pretty certain I could make it home. Well, by the time I got home, I somehow didn't have to poop anymore. I was home for an hour and a half, I showered, I filled around on the computer, still nothing. I go to my boyfriend's so we can get lunch, and the minute I get there, then I have to poop. We get to the restaurant, and it's so hole in the wall that I can't see a bathroom anywhere. I tell myself I can conquer this. People have overcome much more dire circumstances. Plus, as the gnarliest the poops often are, I don't know if I'm going to shit myself one minute or walk off poop-free into the sunset the next. We get back to his house, and I have some time to kill before I go to school where I volunteer. So I go inside, and then it hits. I don't have to poop. I just have to pee because I ordered a Thai medium plus, and this caused me to drink 4 glasses of water and a Thai tea. I go immediately for the bathroom, confident, because who cares if someone pees? Then I sit down, and man, this just isn't pee. This is a poop that I can't clench away if my life depended on it. I nearly hyperventilate. But then I think, fuck you, patriarchy. Women poop too. So, I try to poop in peace and pride. Well, maybe not pride, but at least not embarrassment. I stand up and flush the toilet. I wash my hands. The confidence I felt 15 seconds prior is dissipating. Probably suffocated by the fumes of the stinky shit I just did. I look back down at the toilet before leaving the bathroom, and the water is just circling. My poop's like little boats being sucked into a whirlpool. Jesus, sweet Jesus, do I deserve this? I wait for the whirling to stop and flush again. There it goes. This is going to be fine, I think to myself. But then the whirling stops for the second time, and one poop remains. I realize I really don't have any other options but to flush a third time. I wonder if he can hear these flushes from the living room. I have flashbacks of being a kid and my brother running out of a restaurant bathroom announcing to my parents that he just had to double flush his poop. I remember the way people stared, the way my dad made fun of him. Third flush completed. And this one single poop will not go down. I curse the stars. I curse 1960s plumbing. I curse this world we inhabit in which I'm best friends with my boyfriend, but not in a way that it's okay for him to tell me about this massive shitty problems I've got in here. And then I do what I would like to have believed I could make it through an entire life of never doing. I take some toilet paper, reach into the toilet, and pull my own feces from my boyfriend's toilet. I continue wrapping it in more and more toilet paper, trying to inspire some exit strategy for myself and this single ship. I look in the mirror, breathe in deeply, suck in my stomach, and stuff this slightly wet teepee wrapped turd down my own pants. I beeline it for the front door, and it appears that he's not in the living room after all. Sweet, sweet Grace. I will explain leaving without saying goodbye to him later, and I will spend the afternoon praying he does not go in his bathroom anytime in the next 20 minutes. My hand is on the doorknob when I hear him say, "No kiss?" I turn and he's walking toward me. Then, before I can manipulate the situation, my boyfriend is kissing me while I have my own wet turn slowly soaking through half a roll of this toilet paper and into my jeans. I pull back and blurt, "Don't go into the bathroom." He looks at me oddly, and I bolt out the front door. My feces now lie unraveling from soggy toilet paper somewhere in the 1200 block of South Ingalls. My pride, probably somewhere down there too.
I'm pretty sure I don't get heartburn because my mom is a feminist and she never made me hold in my burps and farts.
Tonight, my dad told me that my sister and I do not need to study too hard because girls just need to find good husbands and have children. My sister's going to law school. I'm applying for PH programs this year.
I was told, you can't act like that. You won't be able to find a husband to marry you. My dad told me that in Somalian culture, if the child has two parents that are different races, then the kid takes his dad's race only. Good on, bro.
It's summer. I'm 17. I'm having a lot of fun. I go into Subway, the sandwich shop, to use the bathroom with my friends. I get caught up in a conversation with one of the workers who's cute and offers me a free cookie. I give him my number. We're texting, he's funny, we're making plans, and right before we're gonna hang out, he confesses to me that he's 28 and has 2 kids. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm into older guys, but are you kidding me? Just my luck. I tell him it's no big deal and we can still go on a date to see how things go. Big mistake. We decided on boondocks. I show up in a dress and a sweater. He keeps suggesting that I take the sweater off. I tell him that no, I'm cold and I don't want to. And he seems to get irritated with me. During our game of mini golf, when I seem to be marginally ahead, he keeps telling me he doesn't like losing. Same thing with bowling. It's like being behind in a game against a girl was a hit on his masculinity. We talk as we play games, and I learn a lot of useless information about the small town he was born in. Eventually, he wants me to go race go-karts. I vocalize that I do not want to do that. He says, come on, you'll like it. I keep saying no, that I don't like driving, that I don't feel safe doing it, but he continues to insist. Then it hits me. I want to leave. I tell him I'm going to the bathroom and I'll be right back. In reality, I jet for the front door and ask a worker where the closest store is. She tells me there's a Jamba Juice about a mile down the road, so I start running. I take my shoes off because they started to blister my feet and run barefoot to Jamba Juice. I look over my shoulder every couple of minutes to make sure he isn't following me. I get a text from him about 20 minutes later. He tells me how much of a bitch I am for ditching him and how he did nothing wrong. I respond with, "I'm sorry, I was uncomfortable, I didn't know what else to do." He doesn't stop. He calls me over and over again, and I refuse to answer. My friend and her mom come pick me up and take me back to their house. I never want to go back to Boondocks again.
A guy sent me a message on a dating website and just said, "Hey, sexy." I didn't reply because nothing about that sounded appealing. An hour later, he wrote me again and said, "Too much of a bitch to say hi back?" Laugh out loud, not surprised. I was so over the stuff guys said to me on there, I decided to delete my account. But first I replied, "Too much of a dick to not understand a woman can choose not to respond to you?" He replied, "It has nothing to do with that. It's about being friendly and polite." This, coming from the guy calling a woman he's never even met a bitch? Right before I deleted my account for good, I got one final message. Don't act surprised when you get treated how you act.
In September 2015, I had spent the weekend with my best friends across the country for a wedding. I was a woman of honor in the bridal party. We spent the entire weekend discussing our love lives and comparing them to the infinitely happy couple getting married. In the wedding vows, the couple promised to inspire and support one another. It was in this promise that I realized my relationship of 2.5 years would never and had never been supportive or inspiring, but actually abusive. Instead of an endearing nickname, my ex constantly called me hopeless. He left bruises on my wrist when he wanted to put me in my place. My needs or interests were never considered in any real way. It was that weekend I decided for the third time to try to leave him. He picked me up from the airport at the end of the trip. I was high on my best friend's love and determined to find it for myself. On our drive back to our apartment, he asked if I wanted to go on a walk in the mountains before returning home to catch the sunset. I was taken aback because he never hiked with me or watched the sunset with me, two of my favorite Colorado activities. I agreed, as my legs were swollen from the plane and my gut was heavy with wedding cake. We drove up to the mountains, walked to a view of the city, and he said, "You know I love you, right?" I said yes, although he hardly ever told me he loved me, so my heart skipped a beat. Then he got down on one knee and proposed to me. I said, "I don't know. We've never talked about this." He got up and told me how long he'd been thinking about it for months and how we should do it because we've been together for a long enough time. In my head played a quote from Sex and the City, "Just say yes. When the man you love gets down on one knee and offers you a ring, you just say yes." So I said yes, because I was taught to say yes. I was taught that women are lucky if anyone wants to marry them. I was taught that women put others' feelings before their own. I was taught that women should appease men, keep them happy, and so I kept them happy, ignoring the nagging feeling in my gut. I said yes because it was the easier thing to do. The abuse got worse after the engagement. He kicked me, screamed at me, belittled me in front of my friends. But I stayed for 6 more months. It was a second cross-country trip to see my girlfriends and share the highs and lows of our relationship that I realized I could leave him. I could live without him.
Snap. I'm 11 years old and shopping with my mom for summer clothes. I hold up a cute 2-piece swimsuit and ask to try it on. She looks at my still flat chest and tells me that I can't have a 2-piece bathing suit until I have something to put in it. Snap. I'm 14 years old and attending my Temple's Purim program. At this point, all I want to be when I grow up is a pastry chef, so I can create an apron for my costume with my own personal shop name on it. Sweet Temptations. Because all I hear when we see when we see a sweet in the grocery store or a shop window is, "Don't tempt me." People come up to my mom during the program and tell her that I shouldn't wear that. When I ask her why, she sheepishly tells me that it's because I have breasts now and people think I'm advertising my body. I blush and tell her that I think that's stupid. And she tells me she agrees, but I shouldn't wear that anymore. Snap! I'm 15 years old. My mother finally decides to stop abusing prescription medication. The man who convinces her to do so is my voice teacher. He ingratiates himself in my family and becomes my confidant. He talks to me about sex and says, "My mom said it was okay." He tells me that any man who doesn't think you're hot doesn't have his balls in the right place. He tells me that I'm the perfect combination of sweet and hot. He calls me Beauty and Nina and tells me he loves me in 9 different languages. He keeps me up until 2 a.m. texting me. He's 47 years old. Snap. I turned 16 years old. The same man takes me out to dinner to celebrate my birthday. He pulls into a cul-de-sac on the way to dinner and kisses me because I'm 16 now. I don't know what to do or what to say. We arrive at the restaurant and people glare at me. I don't know why.
Snap. This man asked me to help direct the temple's children's choir. He tells me that I should be an example for the correct singing posture. He tells me to push out my chest and stand up straight. He and the cantor of the temple, his best friend, share a smirk as I do so. I don't know why. I go home and practice my stance in the mirror and realize that my shirt becomes see-through when I do so. I'm mortified. Snap! This man takes me to an Al-Anon meeting. People stare at me and whisper but say nothing, even though they seem uncomfortable with this relationship in front of them. We leave, and he asks me to use the key I have to my mother's Sunday school classroom so we can get into it after dark. He gropes my chest and kisses me, and I don't know what to do or say. He tells me that he's not a pedophile. I agree because I don't know why he would say such a thing. Snap. People at my temple tell my parents that I hug this man too much. This is different now than when I was little because I'm 16 now, and people view me as a sexual object. The man does not discourage me and tells me that it's okay to seek comfort when I'm having a hard time. My parents decide that I have an inappropriate crush on this man. They tell me that I'm not allowed to take voice lessons anymore, and I'm not allowed to be in a room alone with him because I am inappropriate. Snap, it's Friday, and I'm stuck in the car for 2 hours with my mother. She begins to lecture me about my behavior with this man. She tells me that I've been acting inappropriately, and I need to understand that he is a 47-year-old man, and I am a 16-year-old girl. I tell her she has no idea what she's talking about. She asks me if he was ever physical with me. I stare out the car window and mumble assent. Now, I'm a victim. I tell her I don't want to talk about it anymore. Monday morning, there was a social worker at my house. I throw a fit because I don't want to talk to anyone about it. They call the police instead. The officer comes to my house and sits across from me at my dining table. I tell him everything that seems relevant. He puts his pen down, looks at me and asks, "Didn't you know it was wrong?" His incredulity and blame is evident. I don't know what to say to help him understand, so I say nothing. He takes my meticulously kept diaries with him when he leaves. Detectives show up the next day knowing more about me than my parents because they've read it all. They yell at me and ask where the missing pages from my diaries are. I tell them I used to write down homework. They tell me they don't believe me until I cry. Then they believe me.
Snap. I've been told that the court case has been continued for the 3rd time. I tell the pianist for my school choir this because he asks why I'm upset. He tells me that he thinks this man was stupid because if he wanted to fuck me, he should have just waited until I was 18. Snap. I'm about to turn 17, and I'm standing in front of a judge pleading with him to punish this man severely, even though the DA had agreed to plead him out charges of child annoyance and a $40,000 fine, 10 of which he pays before moving to Paris. The judge tells me that I should have listened to my parents. Snap, I'm 18 now. I teach Sunday school. I see the cantor of my temple every day. I write a private letter to him and tell him that I know who he really is, and I'm angry that he knew exactly what was happening and did nothing. I get fired from teaching Sunday school. Snap, I'm 18 years old. I'm in a school play and I don't have double-sided tape for my costume to keep big clothes around my bust. I asked the musical director if he has any. He says he does, and when he brings it back, he tells me that I should be grateful because this goes against everything I believe in as a man. I chuckle awkwardly and pull it tighter around me. Snap, I'm 20 years old. I have a new boyfriend who's fascinated with my body. I am ecstatic and enjoying sex for the first time in my life. I think maybe he is the one. Snap, we've been dating for 6 months and I'm too tired to have sex one night. He begs me and asks me if I really love him. He tells me that he's really horny and if I don't want to have sex, then he'll just masturbate to porn. I'm afraid that this means he is replacing me with a Rolodex of women and can never measure up, that I can never measure up to. I'm afraid this means he will leave me. I don't have friends anymore because he doesn't like when I hang out with other people. I feel like if he leaves me, I won't have anyone or anything a city 3,000 miles from my home. I'd say yes.
Snap. We've been dating for 9 months, and sex has begun to hurt. He thinks he means that he's really good at pounding me. I go to the gynecologist because I think something is wrong with me. She asks me if I really want to be having sex. I say I do, but wonder if maybe I don't. Snap. It's our 1-year anniversary. He tells me he doesn't want to drive me to my bus anymore. I'm upset because he promised he would. He tells me his life would be easier if I didn't exist. Snap. We've broken up, but he wants me back, so he plans a scavenger hunt through the city for me. We get back together. We go to see the fireworks on the 4th of July, and I take my new anxiety medication, and we get back to the house. I fall asleep on his bed, and he begins to touch me. I tell him that I'm too tired. I tell him no. I tell him my vagina still hurts from when we had sex that morning. He tells me that I'm not being supported. He tells me that if I don't want to have sex with him, then he'll go masturbate and sleep upstairs. He tells me that maybe porn is better anyway. He keeps touching me. All I want to do is sleep. I tell him fine. He puts on his lap and tells me to fuck him. I do. I make my grocery list in my head while I do so. I don't know what's happening. He comes, pushes me off of him, and goes upstairs to talk to his mom. I cry in the corner of the bed, unsure what the fuck is happening. He comes back and immediately goes to sleep. I tell him I need to talk to him. He tells me I'm being disruptive. I press forward and tell him I feel used. He tells me he doesn't care and goes to sleep. I spend the next day in my bed. He comes over and I tell him again. He tells me that I shouldn't say that because it takes away from all the real survivors I work with. He calls it rape a year before I ever think to.
Snap. I'm 22, sitting on my couch in my tiny college apartment. I tell my new best friend what happened. She calls it rape. I hug her because I finally know what to call it. It's no longer just a night of bad sex. It's no longer just a shitty relationship. This man raped me, and she gave me the courage to say so. Snap. I'm 23. My best friend calls me and tells me that she's been raped. We go to the hospital for a forensic exam, and I hold her and tell her I love her while they do a pelvic exam. She tells me it hurts. She tells me she doesn't know how this happened. She tells me she's sorry. She asks me how I survived. I tell her I don't know, but we're going to get through this together.
I was raised Catholic in the 1960s and 70s. It was the kind of upbringing that included 5 brothers and sisters, prayers before meals, periodical school, Sunday Mass, and sacraments as rites of passage. My school teachers were nuns, and they taught social justice in an era that awoke the civil rights. They ignited my passion in equal rights. Conversely, in church matters, priests and my own deacon father took charge. Keeping with the faith, in all things holy, my mother had little to contribute. Our Lord commanded, quote, "Let your women keep silence in the church, for it is not permitted unto them to speak, but they are commanded to be under obedience, as also saith the law. And if they will learn anything, let them ask their husbands at home. For it is a shame for women to speak in the church." End quote. Corinthians chapter 1. This was just as well because Mom was flat out exhausted when we arrived to church every Sunday. Weak from the previous night's fast, ironing all our Sunday best, herding us into the family pew, and admonishing us to keep quiet. Once settled, we heard 3 biblical readings and a divine interpretation from a priest or deacon ordained to guide our thinking. With each passing year, I became more silently rebellious. It just seemed too convenient that our male-led church, with its male-authored Bible, continued to espouse my role as a female, to serve them dutifully, and to remain silent and subservient. Quote, "I will therefore that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully." End quote. Timothy chapter 1. Nonetheless, in my mid-20s, I married a Catholic boy, and we bore and baptized 2 children. The first was a boy, the second a daughter. One Sunday at Mass, I held our infant daughter and listened once again to a homily outlining the role of the faithful daughter and wife. Keep silent, be dutiful, be modest, submit. Keep silent, be dutiful, be modest, submit. Keep silent, be dutiful, be modest, submit. I looked into my daughter's trusting eyes, and I knew that sitting there was a cruel betrayal. I never wanted her to hear those words, to believe those words, to feel less than because she was born female. I nudged my husband, and I, a woman, spoke in church. My words were, quote, "I will not raise our daughter in this church." End quote. My daughter is now leading the feminist charge. She is speaking out. She is encouraging women to use their voice. There's beauty in this. My heart is full. I feel great hope.
You can be just about anything in life, but sweet God, I hope you never have to be stuck, at least not for long. I am stuck. I am most superbly and disgustingly stuck. And in this process, I've been looking at shitty shit pins on Pinterest that say, if I don't like where I am, I should change it because I'm not a tree. If I wonder why birds stay in the same place when they could fly all over the world, I should ask myself the same. I read that albatrosses can fly from Houston, Texas to Perth, Australia without stopping. In fact, they can soar through skies above oceans and only need to flap their wings every few hours. Ornithologists or not, I think we all can agree that's amazing. Really, truly amazing. It's the type of thing that makes me pretty certain that creation doesn't only occur on our side of things. Well, here's the thing. I'm no wandering albatross, and neither are you. This isn't a story about pins or albatrosses or creation, though. This is a story about how the man I share my life with, a sad, horrible, terrible, awful thing. Said a horrible, terrible, awful thing. This is a story about when the man I share my life with said a horrible, terrible, awful thing, and I suddenly understood why some people choose callousness over love. This is a story about how the man I share my life with said a horrible, terrible, awful thing, and I realized I could love him, or I could love him, but not both. An abbreviated list of what we shared. 4 years, tears, multiple beers, an apartment, a toilet, and our families. Hormones, headphones, humor, drawings, letters, nail clippers, germs, mistakes, heartbreak, fear, weakness, weed, and socks. He says stolen, I say shit. Rough drafts, laughs, a couple of baths, bread baskets, runs, 3 square feet on various dance floors. Shallow and deep desires, disappointments, morning breath, and dreams. Numerous secrets, multiple lies, and some nerve gun fights. Bad days, good days, peaceful silence. On in-between days, our bodies, flirtation, vacation, sensation, and now cessation. Not on the list, toothbrushes, support, sucker, validation, endorsement. The horrible, terrible, awful thing he said to me was the human version of the shitty shit pins. He called me a tree. He pointed out that I'm not an albatross. And this is why it hurt. Because he's right. He's absolutely right. I am not yet what I want to be or where I want to be. What I am is 25, stuffing the spot within myself where I wish a passion, a purpose, or a pursuit resided full of anger and hate over its absence. Glenn Fry was right. Anger really is just love disappointed. Since college graduation, I have consistently run, read, loved my family, eaten too many wontons, and hated myself for not having a burning passion within me. I have degraded, lambasted, and execrated myself for not finding any tinder yet. If it was there, I would have found it. I would have kindled a flame. I would have made a roaring fire. But it's not. Not yet. Women have not been fighting to be full humans so that I could be a tree. This is a fact, and I hate it daily. I do not want to settle down. I do not want to find a marrying type and have a wedding and get pregnant and go to the DSW for fun. I do not want to take kids anywhere or give any shits about strollers and then work half days a few times a week. My greatest fear is that if I don't find a passion soon, this is my trajectory. Please hear me when I say that there are people who would be passionate about doing that, and I do not disapprove. For me, it would be a passionless life, and all I certainly know what I want is passion, pursuit, purpose, I imagine I'm not the only one who feels this way. But as it turns out, people don't often grab drinks on the weekend and say, I have no clue what I want to do with myself. After the horrible, terrible, awful thing you told me, maybe you need to get your own life, you know? I can't be your main source of happiness. I hate him too. I hate him for thinking I wouldn't hate myself for relying on him for a life. My future, my happiness. I hate him for thinking I would allow myself in 2018 to choose a man over my potential. This is my country's history. We take off some, but not at all, of the chains, and then blame people for having not moved further away from where we kept them. And if I don't hate him for all that, then I hate him for showing up in my life every day for the last 4 years, watching me search, and still somehow believing that I'm seeking a job I don't hate, my calling, my passion, not because I'm a human, but because I'm a woman. The brief version. I hate that someone I love could and would pour salt on that great deep wound. I believe in more. I believe in a type of love that says, you are not there yet, no. And I know that feels so shitty to you right now. I know all the searching for it and hating on yourself for not finding it is driving you crazy. I do. But I also know that you are full of sass, soul, style, and skills that the universe will not let go to waste. I know this because I am in love with you. Because I am an admirer of the work you do and the life you lead right now. Right now. I believe in love like that. I really do. And here's why. Because this is a story about how the man I used to share my life with said a horrible, terrible, awful thing. And I kicked his ass off my search party.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep that round of applause going for all the stories you tell so far. We are going to take about a 10 to 15 minute intermission before we get on with more stories. During that time, feel free to use the bathroom. There's gender-inclusive bathrooms right around the corner.
Check out these t-shirts. We got some t-shirts out there commemorating the show today.
Check it out. It looks terrible over your dress. It'll look better on you.
I was thinking about getting a t-shirt to wipe the tears. They're good for that too. I'm sitting over there crying, messing up my makeup. Whoa. These stories are amazing so far. We've got a whole nother second half of stories that went by really fast.
It did. So we have, a whole other half of the show. Please, during this time, if you're not using the bathroom or get another room doing, fill out the donation cards that are in your booklets, and you can donate to the scholarship fund.
That's a really important part. That's why we're here today. We're hearing these stories, but we want to get some donations for this scholarship so that we can help other young women pursue their dreams. So don't forget about that part. Don't ignore that envelope of coming around and making direct eye contact with you.
Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in 10, 15 minutes.
See you in 10, 15.
You should all be wearing the shirts all right now. Every last one of you should be wearing one of these shirts. That's what we like, is an audience in the same outfit.
Welcome to our religion.
Great t-shirt club. So I hope you guys all donated, all checked out the silent auction and did all of those guys. We're gonna
get the second half started. I hope everybody got some tissues as well.
Just up your sleeves, in your pockets, every crevice that you could hold them. You're gonna need them for the second half.
So every story I hear though, doesn't it sound so familiar? That's the weird part. They all sound a little bit familiar. You're like, did I submit a story and not know about it? Sounds like my relationship right there. What was that? But it's
Like,
because
did
it's a
I?
common story for women, though.
Right,
Those are
absolutely.
common stories for women. We're all going through stuff like that. It's like amazing that we persevere. We only got one day, International Women's Day. What the hell?
Yeah. We should have every day. Every day I could scoop my poop out of the toilet and throw it in my bag. I do that to celebrate International Women's Day every year.
You're a woman. You don't have to flush it. Take it with you. Whatever.
No, I use it as proof to show my boyfriend. See? Women do poop. I made that for you. It's okay, it's in the heart.
Great. You ready?
Yeah. We got some more great stories. Thank you guys for sticking around and coming out again.
All right. Here we go.
On with the show.
At school, boys always made jokes about women and how they should be housewives. I remember one time they said, a girl's job is in the kitchen, and why don't I make them a sandwich? I don't get why that's so funny.
People say don't work in fast food service, and I agree. But I have some very difficult reasons why. When I was like 17, I worked at KFC. At the time, the whole building was under construction, but we still had a drive-thru going. The construction workers had kind of given me an off vibe, but I was there to do my job, so I tried to ignore it. One day, when I went to use the restroom, I realized it was being painted. So the door had to be propped open with the paint bucket. I didn't like this at all, but I really had to pee. I went to the bathroom, and while closing the door, this construction worker peeked inside and said, "Hey, I'll watch the door for you to make sure nobody comes in." I said, "No, it's okay, thank you." But he still stood there watching me through the crack in the door while he took off my pants to pee and wipe. It's only when I went to wash my hands that he disappeared from the doorway. I'm freaked out inside, and I immediately told my managers about what had just happened. They said they would just deal with it, and it's not okay. The manager also said that those workers also had been harassing other female employees. 3 weeks go by, and PP construction workers is still working on site. He asked me to go to the 4th of July party with him. I told him I don't party. He asked me for refills for his drinks. He asked me how old I am. I didn't know what to do. There's no kind way to get a man to leave you alone. No safe way either.
When I was 15, I got my first job as a barista at a local coffee shop. It was the early 2000s, so glitter lotion was big, along with white eyeshadow, hip hugger bell-bottom jeans, and American Eagle tank tops that looked like lingerie. I was tall for my age and my gender, towering over most people in my grade at 5'8". I wasn't a very good barista. My lattes were exactly the same as my cappuccinos, and I had no idea how to fix it. Despite my undesirable coffee skill, I developed a few regulars, including 2 men that were in their early 30s. At first, I appreciated their company, their generous tips, and adult jokes throughout my shift. They would sit together at the bar, so I was always within earshot and under their male gaze. Their tips made up most of my cash earnings. After a few weeks, the adult jokes turned into lewd comments about my body. They started asking for hugs whenever they would leave the coffee shop. I hugged them. I didn't know saying no was an option. One day they brought in a camera and took pictures of me when I bent over. They took pictures of my butt and down my shirt. I didn't know what to do and I asked them to cut it out. and said they had had enough pictures. They told me I should take it as a compliment. They're taking pictures of me because I'm beautiful. I didn't know how to argue with them. I didn't know if I was allowed to. They were older than me and my customers. Also, they'd managed to flip my feelings of bodily invasion into a compliment. That day, I learned that being beautiful meant being objectified, feeling violated, and that I should smile through it.
I was a design assistant on a Shakespeare show as a work study at my theater school. I had carried on a flirtation with a very charismatic actor in the show for the whole semester. The Whisper Network confirmed him as a little bit of a philanderer. I never thought our flirtation would go anywhere. He arrived for a sword belt fitting one day, visibly inebriated. There were rumors that he was a drug user, but I didn't believe it until then. My boss went to retrieve her measurement sheets, leaving me alone with the actor. I sat on my heels to adjust his belt. Without warning, he grabbed my hair and whipped my head back, saying, "Do you like that?" I said no, furious. When he let me go, I told him never to do that to another costumer. My boss returned, nothing was said, and we finished the fitting. He ignored me completely from then on. I never told anyone because he's a really well-respected regional actor and I'm just me. They would never believe me. I've given up on my theater dreams.
If I had $1 for every time someone has said, "Wow, you have a great handshake for a girl," or "Wow, firm handshake," I was not expecting that. I would be retired already. I'm not sure why this is still breaking news, but if you add "for a girl" to a compliment, it's no longer a compliment. The reason I have a firm handshake is because I'm a young woman in business who quickly got tired of people assuming I'm someone's secretary. Just because a woman reminds you of your daughter or your granddaughter does not mean they need you to add "sweetheart" to your sentences. Stop being nice to me to my male colleagues. Stop thinking I'll get emotional if I receive constructive feedback. And most of all, I'm begging you, stop acting shocked when I also have the balls to disagree with you. Women in business don't want your petty. We want your respect.
I was sitting in a large room in Denver with many fellow law school grads. We'd been asked to assemble there just before we were to begin taking the bar exam that morning. It was about 35 years ago, but I believe at least 1/3 of us were women, possibly even more. After making some introductory remarks about the exam, the speaker said that the State Bar had a special treat for us. In walked a young woman all bundled up. She stopped and said, "Gosh, I didn't realize there would be so many ladies here." Apparently, neither did the State Bar folks. She was a stripper who had been hired to perform for us for prospective attorneys. She did her routine and left to less than unanimous applause. I felt like standing up and saying something, or at least walking out while this was going on, but I was sufficiently freaked out by the impending exam that I just sat there and gritted my teeth.
My male coworker told me that he and another male coworker rate women in the office who they'd want to sleep with. When I looked disgusted, he said, "Don't worry, you always get ranked first because you're the youngest, so we figure you'd be the tightest."
I always used to ask my father to take me to work with him, but he always said no. Now that I'm 15, my younger brother is the age I was when I wanted to work with my dad. The difference between my brother and I is that I desperately wanted to work and got denied, and my brother doesn't want to work, but is being forced to. Today I continue to ask my dad if I can get a job, and he denies me. My reasoning for wanting a job is to support myself. He denies me a job because he thinks that I will be supported by man and that I need to learn how things function at home.
I'm in my bedroom with the door closed, catching up on everything I've recorded that week on my DVR, probably Grey's Anatomy. My cousin Marty and her two friends, Sean and Josh, come back to our place after a night of drinking at the bars in downtown Fort Collins. I wasn't 21 yet, so my role on Friday and Saturday nights was often to either drive them to the bar or sit and watch TV while waiting for them to come home. I'm an introvert. I honestly didn't mind much, so please don't get all, "Aw, she's all alone" on me. I was fine. I hear them stumble in. The house is old, so you can hear everything, but even so, they're loud, laughing and drunkenly discussing something about their walk home. I pause my show and skip out into the living room to greet them, waiting to hear all of their tales and drunken adventures, which I assure you sounded much cooler back then. During their storytelling, Sean disappears to the bathroom. We only have one, so it's communal, shared by all. It isn't long before we hear him shouting. He's drunk, so I guess this isn't too surprising. None of us are alarmed. More confused? Sean storms out of the bathroom and throws an object past my face. It narrowly misses hitting me in the head. We all look over as Sean begins his rant, to see a closed box of Tampax tampons lying sideways on the floor, slightly dented from hitting the wall. Collectively, we turn and look back at him. What the fuck is that? A box of tampons? I know what it is. Put those things away. What do you mean? They were in the bathroom. They were on the floor. So? I could see them. No, you can't. The box is closed. You need to put that shit away. Hide it. I don't want to see it. You're in my bathroom. I can put my tampons wherever I want. There are men here. Men don't want to see tampons. We don't want to know about that. That's ridiculous. What are you going to do when you have a girlfriend? A wife? A daughter? Tell them not to bleed? They will all send you to the store for tampons, guaranteed. Plus, they were hidden behind the toilet. Why were you looking behind the toilet? I will never buy tampons for any woman. My girlfriend in life will not talk to me about tampons or periods or any of that. Good luck with that. I made my boyfriends in high school buy me tampons. That's disgusting. Disgusting. Cotton? He's afraid of cotton. Fucking cotton. His shirt's probably made of cotton. I laugh because he is drunk and sounds just like a ranting drunk guy. You know the one. In that moment, nothing memorable. But I had never forgotten that night. It was funny, but also reinforced the narrative I had been fed and feared since I was 12. That my period was something disgusting that I needed to hide, never speak about. It helped to continue the pattern of hiding tampons on my shirt sleeve when I went to the bathroom, of saying I was sick when I had cramps, and trying to bury the tampon box in my shopping cart at the store so no one would see it. Let's be real, I still do that. I don't need any judgment at Target when I walk by with my box of Tampax Ultras. If it makes you feel any better, I never let him live it down. Me and some girlfriends have consistently put tampons on his birthday cake. All the way until we were 30. And when he did find that wonderful woman to date, who is now his wife, he did change. Just like I said. He's even gone to the Women's March the last 2 years. But damn, did that take a long time.
My job requires me to speak with students all day regarding the coursework. My coworker asked me if I think professors try to schedule midterms and exams in the middle of the month so that their women students wouldn't miss the test as often. To this I asked him, "What do you mean?" He said, "You know, the professors can be more accommodating to their students that are women." I asked him what he meant by that, and he responded, "You know, because it might be their time of the month, and I know how hard it is for them when they're not trying to feel well." Then he proceeded to ask me if professors doing that was sexist or them just being caring. I told him that it doesn't matter what time the test is because women just don't plan on getting their periods at the beginning or the end of the month. And I asked him if I really thought that women all have their periods at the same time. I could not believe this was the conversation I was having right now. I told him, let's be clear, women have been doing their thing without anyone having to accommodate them, so. He ended the conversation with, "I can't control the thoughts that come into my head, okay?"
I got my first period when I was 11, sitting in band practice. I was worried everybody had noticed and was looking at me. When I got home, I went to the bathroom and stuffed toilet paper in my underwear to soak up the blood. I did this for a week. The next time I got my period, instead of telling my mom, I did the same thing. If my underwear got stained, I would hide it along with the bloody toilet paper in the back of my closet. It went on like this for months. See, I was too scared to tell my mom that I'd got my period because I was afraid she would think it was dirty, not a child anymore. That I was dirty. I felt dirty. I didn't feel like a kid anymore. One day in the car, when we pulled up to our house, my mom asked, "Did you get your period?" I told her yes. Apparently she had found my stash of bloody underwear and toilet paper in the back of my closet. My face was burning. I was so scared to be judged. She said, "Why didn't you tell me?" I told her I didn't know. She bought me a box of tampons and we never talked about it again.
So I'm 16. It's that time of the month. I have no tampons at home, so I asked my dad to take me to the store. At the store, he doesn't even want to be seen with me in the aisle while I'm picking them out. Then, when we're at the checkout, and I put the box of tampons up with the rest of the groceries, he flips his shit and says that he's not paying for them. It's gross. It's a woman's responsibility to take care of herself. I beg him to get them for me. I mean, I'm bleeding straight through my underwear and into my jeans here, but he won't. Now he's offended, as if I asked him to help me get rid of a body or something. I told him that it's not a big deal, and asked if he ever bought tampons for my mom before, and he said that he hadn't. He told me it's not manly. I put them back, we go home.
Excuse my uncouthness, but I, like many of you, have a vagina. Along with that vagina, I have a pituitary gland, and ovaries, and a thyroid, and adrenals, and a pancreas, all of which work together to send hormones gushing through me at a rate comparable not even to a BP blunder. This is true, yeah, but people keep acting like a woman is Old Faithful, sprouting hormones instead of water when she erupts. It's exactly that ludicrous idea that kept women out of colleges. Oh, better not let the ladies in the universities. We can't possibly teach people who become psychotic and incapacitated 1 out of every 4 weeks. We owe much thanks to Letta Setter Hollingsworth for proving that to be bullshit with her research. Research she undoubtedly performed while PMSing. At times. Just saying. Sure, the hormones are bad. But you know what actually makes a woman do the rage dance you attribute to hormones? Reducing her emotions, feelings, and thoughts to complications of having a badge. So, this is to you, ladies, the fabulous females who are more than their uteruses. To you, who was promised happily ever after contingent upon Prince Charming, and you, who is determined to find it with or without him. To you, who puts back a my doll, packs a little chocolate, and functions perfectly capably while your body punishes you for not getting knocked up. And you, queen, who does your dance and does it with grace even when there's no congratulations, you didn't marry the wrong guy and have bratty children. Part held in your honor. You, who talks until things make sense. Who likes frou-frou drinks because they taste good, who cradles, comforts, and contemplates. To you, miss, who cares too much to say fuck it when it comes to another's feelings. Who knows, love isn't love until you give it away. And who should never have been withheld in education because you of all people, always want to share what you learn. And to you, lovely lady, who should never apologize for the way you process or be pressured to stifle a sentiment. To the one who wound up on a blind date with the guy who had fuck bitches tattooed across his forearms. And to every single one of you asking, why? In addition, how? To you, who threw brownies in the trash can and then covered them in dish soap to ensure you wouldn't eat anymore. That's real? Okay. Who answered questions when you were asked and then was denigrated because you did so honestly. To the ones who don't censor themselves, and to the ladies who embrace strength and sexuality, even though they run the risk of being mislabeled bitchy and impure. To every woman dealing the best way she knows how and being told, it's not good enough. It is. To the ones too afraid to stop being nice, even when they deserve to be pissed. To the sisters who want to run wild, but want someone to run with. And to the dames who hate decisions. To the ladies who know how to make shit shows much better than compromises. And to all y'all trying so damn hard to not be that girl. To the ladies who put their hearts and hips into it and get credit only for the hormones that go into, this is for you. Chances are you hate your uterus enough as it is. Don't absorb their hate too. Call it acrimony, call it rancor, call it clit envy. But don't ever call it your fault for what you were born with. You, my lady, are so much more.
I had just gone out of an abusive relationship. I'm hooking up with this guy that I've been seeing for a month or two. It's like our second time having sex. It hurts. So I tell him, no, stop. He looks at me and says, You really don't want to? You've been teasing me all day. I told him that I don't want to, but I feel sore, so it won't feel good. I look and see that I'm bleeding. He rolls his eyes and says, girls say no, but do they really mean no? I feel like that's kind of just a kink thing. I laugh a little nervously and nod, because he's still on top of me. Come on, I'll make sure it doesn't hurt. I don't say anything. He puts it back in. It still hurts.
One time, when I was having a pregnancy scare, I told a guy I was sleeping with that I thought I might be pregnant. He told me he was going to kill himself if I didn't get an abortion.
I did not fully consider my first sexual intercourse experience as one involving coercion. I've never talked to my mother, father, or friends about my experience. It wasn't until 10 years after that I told my sister. I was 13. I spent my 9th grade summer break visiting my father out in the country. My stepsister, S, who was 9 years older than me at the time, invited me to go to dinner with her and her friends. Having no friends of my own there, I jumped in the opportunity. This particular country isn't as strict when it comes to checking IDs, especially if you're not the one paying. This was my first experience with hard alcohol. The next day I woke up around mid-afternoon in a love motel. Love motels are widespread in this country and are often used by couples who live with their parents and do not have privacy within their own homes. But they are primarily used for prostitution. The room was small, fit only with the bed I was lying on, and was lined with mirrors. My head was pounding, and as I rolled over on my back, I saw my naked body reflecting through the ceiling mirror. I didn't have the energy or desire to move. I just absolutely stared. I don't feel sad, angry, or confused. I felt vacant. The body in the mirror looked slight and distorted. It was not mine. Perhaps an hour or so later, S's friend, X, whose name I never caught, strolled in with a smile and a grocery bag. I remained lifeless as he sat next to me and pulled out a container full of soap. He sat me up and fed me a spoonful, then placed my spoon in my hand. I blindly kept eating while he proceeded to pull out a tiny pair of scissors from the plastic bag. He shook his head in disapproval as he ran his fingers through my hair and started cutting off a knot as he chuckled, "Dork, I told you to spit your gum out last night." He held my hand as we walked away to a nearby restaurant where S was waiting. She looked happy to see me and laughed at how cute it was that I didn't want to leave X's side all night. After our meal, S had a few errands to run, so she asked X to help me find my own way home. He hailed the cab, gave the driver instructions, tucked cash for the ride in my front pocket, kissed my forehead, and thanked me for letting him be my first. This is what I convinced myself was consensual. My choice was made when I decided to drink and flirt. Since I did not consider this rape, my sadness centered on the fact that I lost my virginity in an unfairy tale-like manner. I questioned my own credibility and blamed myself by asking, how much did I drink? Did I flirt with him? Did we just get carried away? Was I too passive? Did I not send him a clear enough sign? Did I mistake his gentleness and care for me the next day as intimacy? Was it an achievement for X? Did he just want to get in my pants? Was it a hunt? Did taking my virginity make his conquest more rewarding? Did he win a game because he scored a virgin? Was it a commodity exchange as he had to pay for room, food, drinks, and a cab? Was I merely a possession because he had me? I was a cute thing and he took my virginity? Or was I his pet? Some chick or bitch? be fed and groomed for a couple hours. I realize now how fucked up this whole situation was 10 years later.
When I was 7, I was playing on the playground of a camp I used to attend every summer. Apparently, there was some confusion by a group of boys as to whether or not I was a girl. I yelled at them, defending my gender, "I am a girl!" I yelled in frustration and confusion. The boys then proceeded to kick me repeatedly in the vagina. I stood there sobbing and wiping my tears. They said if I wasn't a boy, then it wouldn't hurt. I was too scared and embarrassed to tell anyone until 5 years ago. I'm 36.
Seventh grade is a hard year for everyone. I know. I was on a field trip with my class, and we were driving back late at night. The teachers assigned the seats girl, girl, and boy, boy, except for me, because I was a special case. I had just come out as a lesbian, and it was the talk of the school. In the Bible Belt of Georgia, people didn't approve of that very much. So for the bus ride, they had me sit next to a boy. I guess they didn't want me taking advantage of some poor girl, warping her mind, converting her to homosexuality or something. Right, well, so I'm sitting next to this kid. We're both very quiet for a while until he finally asked me, "Is it true that you're gay?" "Yes," I said. "So what?" He just shrugged his shoulders. "Well, how do you know? Have you ever even done anything with a guy?" I looked at him. "Have you?" I snapped back. "How do you know if you're straight, or if you've never done anything with a guy?" He looked confused, so I don't even bother explaining any further. Another long silence ensued. Finally, he said, "You know, everybody thinks you're weird. You could say at least try being straight." I looked at him like he's crazy. What the fuck does that mean? "You know, I could show you. I mean, if you're really gay, you wouldn't get turned on. You wouldn't mind at all." I looked around at the other seats of students to see if any of them were listening to this horse shit. Most of them were on their cell phones, or gossiping, probably, or trying to sleep. He told me that he wanted to touch me, and if I wouldn't let him, he'd tell everyone that crazy lesbian chick came onto him. He started by rubbing my thigh, then groping my chest, and leaning into my ear. I sat completely stiff and perfectly still, hoping that nobody could see through the darkness and notice what he was doing. It felt like it went on for hours. He only stopped me when he pulled into the school parking lot. He said nothing to me. He left. I took a really long, hot shower when I got home.
As powerful as the Me Too movement has been in making visible the abuse that so many women have endured, we must remember all those voices that are still unable to speak about their abuse. For whatever reason, a friend of mine wants to share her Me Too story, but feels she needs to do so anonymously. So she's asked me to share it for her. In her words, like so many other women, I was thrilled to see that the Me Too won Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Validation feels especially good right now, when so many people in power are still doing everything they can to force us back into silence. And yet I'm conflicted, because I'm still silent. These accusations are from years ago. Why didn't she say anything before now? I can't speak for other victims, but I can tell you why. Even now, I'm afraid to come forward. My uncle abused me. Starting summer before I entered second grade. The abuse continued for nearly 10 years. I didn't tell anyone the first time it happened, because he told me not to. He said it'd be our little secret. Cliche, I know. I've kept our little secret for nearly 4 years. For a long time, I felt complicit. I didn't tell, therefore, it was my fault. As an adult, I understand that this isn't true. I was a child. It couldn't have been my fault. Now, I have different concerns. My abuser has a wife and kids. They are, I presume, ignorant of his actions. If I were to finally admit what he did for me, for all those years, I fear the effect that my disclosure would have on their lives. Can you imagine learning that your father or your husband had sexually abused his niece? I can't do that to them. The shockwave wouldn't stop there. My parents believe they did a decent job keeping the children safe. They would learn that they literally paid for my abuser to babysit me. I'm protecting my parents from the realization. Finally, I'm protecting myself. I see how victims are treated. I've seen children as young as 11 years old described as a little promiscuous. I am 100% certain that I would not be believed. Then my motives would be questioned. For me, that's a cruel irony. I've kept a shameful secret for 4 decades. And if I were able to finally come out, I'd be accused of seeking attention. The last thing I want is that kind of attention. I believe that I'm resilient and that I have gotten over what happened to me so many years ago. I have a wonderful life, a supportive husband, and an excellent therapist. I'm okay. Except even now, that a day goes by, I don't think about what happened. Especially now, with the sexual assault in the news, and an admitted abuser in the White House, my abuse is always top of my mind. I think I'm okay, except there was a time I was called for jury duty. I was placed on a panel for a childhood sexual assault case. As I waited my turn to be questioned, I practiced my speech. I was sexually abused by my uncle, so I don't think I can be impartial. I was fine all day until it was my turn to take the stand. I calmly answered all my questions until they asked if I or anyone I knew had ever been sexually harassed. My throat closed up. I literally could not speak. I tried to answer, and I tried to fight back the tears, but it was useless. The bailiff helped me off the stand, got me some tissues, and pointed me to the exit. It troubles me that I couldn't speak then. I'm frustrated I can't speak now. I cannot come out. I cannot tell my story. I am not alone. Even now, even after this victory, so many people, men and women, have so many reasons to live. Remember that this work is not done. Remember that if you don't know anyone in your family who has been assaulted, it most likely means that someone is protecting you from the truth. We hope that others who are still silent can find allies to help them safely share their stories.
It had been a long week. I was separated from my boyfriend and needed a night out with the girls. What else does a college freshman do other than go to a frat party with the girls to forget her ex and mingle with cute guys? I met him sitting on the couch. It had to be close to midnight. I had no idea where we were because a friend drove me. I was the one who was supposed to be able to really let go that night. My friends were making sure I was safe, they said. I drank way more than my 17-year-old body should have had, but he kept bringing me more and more. When the party was wrapping up, my friends were nowhere to be found, and there I was, barely able to move on the couch. I had been drugged. My legs and arms felt like lead. I couldn't stand or walk. He carried me to the car and promised to take me back to the dorm. We never went to the dorm. I came to and was in a house I had never seen before. I was on the bed, and he was there too. I tried to crawl away, but my body was so heavy, and he was so strong. I was held down and stripped naked. I tried to scream, but the music was too loud. No one could hear me. I just remember the pain and the blood. So much blood. He said no one would believe me. He was a star baseball player and in one of the most popular fraternities. He told me it would be over soon. Finally, I gave up. Tears streamed from my eyes into the now soaked pillow, blood all around me. He left. I laid there, unable to move, unable to conceive of what had just happened to me. It was supposed to be a fun girls' night, and now I was here laying in a puddle of my own blood and tears. The guy was no longer cute. He was a monster who took a part of me I would miss forever. He took my innocence. I would carry that scar for the rest of my life. Carry that scar for the rest of my life. No one will believe you, he said, so I never spoke up, until now.
The room is slowly filling with people, getting warmer and warmer, as Charlie's is apt to do any given Saturday night. We are close to one of the indoor bars. My friend Casey getting a round of drinks for me and her girlfriend, Kristen, unpleasantly drunk. Casey's girlfriend had flown in to surprise her, and we have all decided to go out and have a good time. Kristen and I have just finished up a conversation about something that I can't even remember now when I feel it. A hand right on my right breast. I look down, surprised, confused, drunk. Someone's hand is on my boob, and I turn to see a man walking past me, staring right at me. My face must give away my confusion and rising anger as he looks surprised and says, "Sorry," in a tone that suggests that he's confused as to why I would be upset. He walks away to his group of friends. To him, it seems the moment is already over, barely worth thinking about. I turn to Kristen and say, "That dude just grabbed my boob." She looks confused as I tell her what happened. As I say the words out loud, I feel my anger bubbling to the surface. Fuck that guy. I turn around and go up to him. "Hey, that was not okay. Please don't ever do that again." I'm proud of myself for saying something. These words wouldn't have come out of my mouth 2 years ago. He again looks at me like he has no idea how I got there. "I said sorry," he said. "It wasn't sexual, I'm gay." I wish I was more sober and that it was quieter so that I could eloquently tell him a list of things that are wrong with that statement. Instead, all I can think of to say is, "It doesn't matter, that doesn't mean you can grope me." His friend has been hovering. He's wearing this bizarre mask like people do at a masquerade ball. And when I think of that night, the mask is what sticks with me. He just told you it wasn't sexual. He's the gayest person I know. He says loudly, daring me to contradict him. I feel myself tensing up. "It doesn't matter," I repeat a little louder. "He shouldn't be grabbing anyone like that. I don't care if he's not attracted to me." "Fuck you, bitch. There's that door. There isn't any room for feminists like you that think you're fucking better than everyone else." He points to the entrance calmly, watching me behind his mask. My friend Casey has been watching from a distance and now comes over and intercedes, pulling me away from the group. In a moment, the crowds have already separated us. For a moment, I feel quite calm as I tell Casey what he said. "What the fuck?" she says. "That is so completely messed up." She turns around and tells one of our other friends what happened, and I feel the tears start. And I'm so ashamed, not for the groping, not for that guy telling me to fuck off, bitch, but at myself. For being that girl who's crying at the club, who's able to be a badass who tells the guy to go screw himself and then goes and dances the night away. I slip away from my friends and call the Lyft to take me home, silently crying in the back seat as the driver sits uncomfortably in the front, equally silent. I text my friends at the club that I'm totally fine, that I just decided to go home, that I didn't want to deal with any more people. They know better, but what is there to say? What will make me feel better about the lack of ownership I, and by extension, so many of us feel over our bodies? Should it make me feel better that it wasn't sexual? Should I pat myself on the back that at least I was able to say something in that moment? Or scream in outrage that I wasn't able to say enough, or say it loudly enough, or say it enough times to make a difference? Should I be more disturbed by my shame and crying, or by the fact that those men might never think on that moment again? Well, I will never forget it.
Going to a party or dance spot with my blackness does not invite your entitlement to my black body. My black body is a temple, not here for your fetishization. I will not bend over and dance for you. I will not dance like a black girl. I will not perform for you because I did not invite you to romanticize my body. Your entitlement fetishes will not latch to my black prowess.
You know the feeling, the tingling on the back of your neck, the burning sensation on the tips of your ears, the butterflies rising in your gut. You are being watched. Or worse, you are being followed. Once you get that initial intuitive hit, your body prepares for the next move. Your shoulders stiffen, your jaw locks, your heart pounds, your adrenaline rushes, you clench your fists, you get ready for a fight. You're not sure which. The eyes flick away when they know that they've been spotted. The trail ends when you turn around to confront their trail. Other times, though, you don't get these intuitive hits. Other times the interactions are closer, more intimate. Maybe you are walking down the sidewalk and there it is. Hey, sweetie, you looking fine. You want to come to my place? You're gorgeous. Why don't you walk that over here? Hey, baby girl. I'm not your fucking baby girl. Whatever it is, it pisses you off. Sets your day on a downward spiral, fucks it up right, makes you disgusted with the weight of the world, the stench of the world, the shit of the world, the goddamn price and privilege of going outside. Or maybe it's your fault. Maybe you asked for it. Maybe you looked available. Maybe you had the audacity to look like you're having a good time. Maybe you, heaven forbid, ordered a drink for yourself and are laughing, then boom, it is here. Hey there, gorgeous, they say. Leaning in a way too close on the same square foot of the bar you've been leaning on. What's something like you doing here all by yourself? It's not a question, it is an accusation. You smell on their breath, the bottom shelf grain mixed with some noxious energy that gives them the liquid courage they needed to approach you. Part of you feels disgust, another pity, another outrage, but mostly you just feel shame. Shame because you were smiling. Shame because you were available. Shame because maybe in some dark cavern of your mind you wanted it. Maybe for some fucked up reason you needed it. What the fuck? You thought that shit was never going to end. It was the inevitability of being female. You never know what it was to wear a dress or heels or walk outside in public without being told how much you looked like you were asking for it. But now you're almost 30. Now you wear a wedding ring. Now, hey, look at that. The attention stopped. You're free, right? Because now the eyes flick from your ass to the glint of your diamond on your hand and they turn away. Now you're safe. Now you're free. But now the emptiness, the fear, that fear, where did that come from? Before, that fear had been towards the perpetrator. Now that fear's on you. Now that fear is on you. Because as much as you wanted to believe, you were above needing to be fueled by pejorative and objectifying male attention based on a patriarchal lens that was designed to suit a heteronormative male gaze. You minored in gender studies, for Christ's sake. The abject howling of testosterone-charged desire, an approach of booze-fueled, socially normalized entitlement somehow helped you feel accepted. somehow helped you feel validated, somehow legitimized your femininity, your virginity, your sexuality, your desire. Before, you didn't doubt your worth because you couldn't escape. Now, there is a humiliating yet insidious desire to get back that cheap affirmation. Now the emptiness is here, the cavern. What now? Because something bigger than upperclassmen liberal arts courses has been written inside of you. A social code so ingrained, it's scratching in your DNA, festering and waiting for that moment you thought you were free. You thought you were free. A couple years later, you're out with a single girlfriend enjoying some happy hour wine, and it's a warm night, and you both have your sundresses to catch the breeze on your legs out on the patio, and actually, she's a couple years older than you, and it's like they can smell it. She's single. She's free. There's a crowd of them trailing you, hovering around you like mosquitoes closing in, and as you move from rosé to gin and tonics, just waiting for you to get buzzed enough to say yes, or whatever version of yes they need. Hey ladies, you free tonight? Can I sit here? He pulled up a chair and interrupts your conversation and pulls up a chair, ice clinking in his sweaty glass filled with the familiar golden glint of liquid courage. You snarl. She recoils. And in an instant, you see that familiar burn on her cheeks as wide eyes fly to you in a panic, and you remember that sensation. You recognize that humiliation. You remember the, oh God, please don't tell me she doesn't think I'm asking for it, and oh God, do I look like I'm asking for it? That humiliation, that shame. Now you feel something new. Outrage, understanding, determination. In one swift move, you want to protect her, to shelter her, to tell her you understand, to take away the humiliation, the fear, and you look at her and you look at both of you and you realize, you know what the fuck? She doesn't deserve this shit. I don't deserve this shit. I never deserved this shit. And I don't need it. Because you shouldn't have to feel like you are asking for something. Or that you don't have the right to be alone. Or that the shit you wear on your ass or your hand conveys some language of availability or property and you shouldn't have to feel embarrassed or afraid to be out in public. Or that if this bullshit ever fucking stops, it's somehow a failure on your part as a woman, as an object of desire, that you're worth so much more than this. Because you have the right to be out in public. You have the right to feel safe. You're enough. You know that? You're enough. You know that? This time it's not a question.
Of the show tonight. We just get like one more hand for the readers. They were like so incredible. And now I just want to invite the Pussy Bros back out one more time to close out our show tonight. Thank you all so much.
Oh man, guys, what a wonderful show. The guys were so wonderful. Before we close everything out, we do want to invite two very special people to the stage who made this whole thing happen. So welcome back to the stage, Jamie and Tim. Give them a huge round of applause. What an amazing night.
Just hit us up via email, and it was like, this is an excellent idea. Of course we want to be involved. We want to hear these stories, and we want to participate in telling these stories. And Tim did an excellent job getting the guys up here, getting it organized. It was a beautiful show. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We still have the silent, if you participated in the silent auction.
Yep. Do check and see if you won, so you can get your stuff. And that is our show.
That's our show.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for listening to her story, his voice.
Campaigning, everybody.